Now, in other news, the State of Israel has been dealing with the international BDS movement for years, and one of the most common allegations against Israel is that Israel is an apartheid state. But our next guest is a living proof to the contrary, and he's been touring the world to spread that message. Please welcome social activist and director of Beyachad Aravim Zeh-La-Zeh, Yoseph Haddad. Thank you so much for coming in today.
Thanks for having me.
All right, what was the trigger that made you, a Christian Israeli Arab, join the IDF and then eventually start touring the world on behalf of Israel?
I was born in Haifa, and Haifa is the biggest mixed city in Israel. Jews, Druze, Arab, Christian, and Muslim living in one happy city. After that, I moved to Nazareth, the biggest Arabic city in Israel. And next to Nazareth is the Nazareth Elite and Migdal HaEmek and Jewish cities. So when I grew up with Jewish friends, Muslim friends, Druze, and Christians. And when we grew up, we really didn't care about politics. We just wanted to play soccer together. Right. And that's basically our life. And at the age of 18, my Jewish friend got listed to the IDF. I didn't. And the reason is simple. I'm an Arab. Only the Druze men and the Jewish are obligated to serve in the army. I'm an Israeli, and the IDF is Israeli Defense Force, not a JDF. It's not a Jewish Defense Force. And when I serve in the IDF, I also defend my society, the Israeli Arab society, and the whole country. And that's why I decided to do that.
Now, you fought and you actually got hurt in the Second Lebanon War in 2006. What happened to you there? And how did you recover from your injuries? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. It was actually 2 days before ceasefire and 2 months before my ending of my services. God had other plans for me. It was early morning. My unit got a call that we have to evacuate and rescue a team that got hit by an anti-tank missile. We went there. We managed to do that. And through the evacuation, we had some difficulties. So instead of finishing the whole rescue mission within 30 minutes, it took us an hour and a half. Ended up going back to our shelter at daylight. My unit and my force was spotted by Hezbollah ambush, and they decided to shoot the same rocket towards me. My luck is that it didn't hit me directly, otherwise I'd be in 1,000 pieces. It hurt just a wall was next to me. From the explosion, I flew in the air, landed on my belly, and understood that my foot was cut off and shrapnels in my face, my whole body. But I said, this is not the end, and I need to recover from that. So after 1 year of rehabilitation, I was back on my feet playing soccer again.
Wow, and it was during that time that you started beginning to think about how you wanted to advocate for the State of Israel, which seems ironic and almost strange probably to some of our viewers.
I've defended Israel by joining the IDF. I should say that I was in Golani Brigade. For me and for a lot, it's the best brigade in the IDF.
That's where my father served, so yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
And the thing is that when I finished my service and when I finished my rehabilitation, I understood that eventually I wanted to continue and serve my country. In the army, I couldn't do that anymore, obviously because of the injury, and I finished my services. But there was another way, which led me to do what I'm doing today.
And what is that? That's Beyachad, right?
It's Beyachad. It's the organization that called in English Together Vouch for Each Other, Beyachad Aravim Zeh-La-Zeh. And it's kind of ironic because Arivim, you can read it as Aravim, as Arabs.
Yeah.
My organization basically wants to be, the whole target of the organization is to bring the Arab sector closer to the Israeli society, to be an integral part of the Israeli society.
And how do you do that?
Yeah. Well, basically by a lot of work and a lot of lectures in the schools, in Jewish schools and Arab schools, and a lot of activities. Because I'll give you an example. We've decided to do an amazing activity in the memorial of the Holocaust in the Arab society. For the first time, we managed to do, we brought a first eyewitness from the Holocaust to speak to Christian, Muslim, and Druze. It was amazing, amazing. So this thing that what's connect us.
So my final question for you, and unfortunately we have to wrap this up soon, even though we could sit here all day, is, as an Arab Israeli, I think that there are probably people within your community that don't necessarily, they are Israeli, but they don't feel as though they are part of Israeli society. And there's also Palestinian identity question that exists within that. What do you tell your friends, people who are from the Arab-Israeli community, when it comes to trying to make them feel more a part of this community, more a part of this state?
So this is the big misleading conception that we have here in Israel. The majority of the Israeli Arabs want to be an integral part of the Israeli society. What we see on the news is the extremists who are the minority. And that's why, and by the way, the same thing, we see it in the world, not just only here. For instance, okay, tomorrow, I'm heading to the United States to do a tour in the campuses in the United States to talk exactly about that and about the misleading conceptions in Israel. And I'm from what I'm seeing through the whole tour is people have no idea what we are doing here in Israel. They think that Israel is an apartheid country. And unfortunately, this is not the truth. One last sentence before we finish, and it's very important for me to say. Tomorrow I'm heading to the United States to talk in the campuses through the whole country, basically. I'm going to be in California, in Florida, and it's going to be amazing because it's a cooperation between my organization and Campus and Camera and Campus, who provide this amazing tour. My main target eventually is to pass the message about Israel that here it's not what it's shown out there.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.
So much.